If people want to keep their job, they're going to become visionaries. It is the only way to stay ahead of AI is to become a visionary. That doesn't mean becoming a visionary leader, but it means being able to think about problems from a lot more different perspectives than the individual one that they've held within their career thus far. That is how you survive. That's how you become one of the last people standing at your company, working with AIs, outputting more work than that business has ever seen from your department. And that's how you make your career. If you're not prepared to do that, I don't know what you're going to do. You might hang in there a little bit longer, but time is up. Even the big companies with lots and lots of cash on hand are firing people who traditionally have performed very well in mass numbers because AI is simply a better tool to deliver customer value than they are. Yeah.
So why are we an authority to talk about AI?
I would argue we're an authority to talk about AI as it is integrated throughout our entire business in a practical sense, that it delivers real results to our customers in terms of better outcomes than necessarily hiring people. The time that we kicked off our business was when AI really became useful across almost every professional service facet of our organization. And we were actually able to disrupt our hiring plan, hiring, I think, like 90% less people, integrating AI into a lot of places instead, and actually speeding up our outcomes easily by about 300% on maybe what we had expected. So I would argue, because we're practically using AI and we're seeing the results and the numbers, that we have something to say on this topic.
That's a good answer. But can we say that everything is automated already?
Well, you know, Raf, I hate the word automation, and it's something that I try to keep out of our business because I think it creates a poor culture where, rather than trying to solve customers' problems or adding value to problems, you're trying to do things that can be made simpler for the worker. So I do not agree that anything in our organization is automated. I would argue against it. But AI is used throughout a lot of our processes to speed things up, to get information, to get better data, to reduce the number of drafts on, say, legal documents or contracts that we're taking to our lawyers or to maybe partners we're negotiating with. It's speeding up our design process. It's speeding up our note-taking process in meetings. It's ensuring that we're not dropping ideas or bits of information from, say, let's say it's a dev thing, from a ticket all the way through to production. It is something that everyone who works at VaaSBlock is using more and more as the months go on, no matter their job.
Okay, that's for the things that AI can help with. But are there things that AI cannot do?
Well, AI is, in its current stage, it's limited, right? You can't ask AI to build me great business and walk away. You have to be able to manage the bits, that all the many pieces that are involved. And you have to fact check it. You have to correct it. You're still a human that's responsible for the work product that's pushed out at the end. So on its own, AI can't do very much at all, I'll be frank. But when paired with people who know what they can do, it is an incredible X factor for speeding up the tasks that they have at hand.
Yeah, you mentioned that everyone is pretty much trying to develop their own AIs, and we see a lot of new names, new things, new hypes. Where do you think that it all stops?
Where does it all stop? Well, we'll reach a point where it stops becoming a marketing angle. I think right now it's a marketing angle, and it's probably lost its shine already, in that a lot of companies are starting to build these bots that can pull on their information and interpret their information and provide it to people. And the reality is that technology is quite old. Like Google's search model, for example, has been doing that for a very, very long time when it's been organizing the whole world's information to provide the right results for someone at the right time. We're now really bringing that off Google onto people's websites themselves or their applications themselves to give people those facts up front. I think it's a novelty. I think it will lose its shine. Same way people announced metaverses a few years ago and never to build them when that was like looking like it might be a thing. Or people were going to have NFTs when that looked like it was going to be a thing. Or when there was the app boom, when everyone wanted to build an app, even though it didn't solve any kind of business problems, was inferior to a website, created additional costs to maintain this thing. So yeah, right now, most companies are using AI as more of a marketing term rather than a practical solution for real problems. And I define a real problem as something that's going to put money in the bank for the customer by providing additional value or unfair value to a customer that in return they're prepared to pay that. So that's what I mean by a real problem. So yeah, most of the AI gimmicks that we see out there with a lot of products, I'll say it one more time, gimmicks.
Should we be scared of AI?
Yes.
Why?
You should be, right? You should be. Most people should be scared of AI.
Why?
So once upon a time, it was a good idea to become a specialist, to get a very concentrated set of knowledge in a particular area. AI has reached the point where that advantage is gone, right? It's gone. That knowledge collection can be done by an AI in a better, faster, more logical manner than a person can, removing its biases. That is gone. So we had the taxi driver Uber moment. We're going to see that in professional services now, where AI is going to allow bosses to ask very serious questions about return on investment on people like designers, product managers, developers, lawyers, accountants, financial advisors. All of these professional services that were perhaps once hard to quantify the return on investment is going to be very easier. And bosses are going to be given the question of, do I really want to pay more for an inferior product for the customer? And the inferior product for the customer here is the person. The person needs to sleep, needs to have holidays, needs to eat, has emotions. And when that person is only able to bring knowledge that can be given in an AI, a boss could very easily and rightfully so argue that a smaller team equipped with the right AI tools are going to provide a better value for the customer. And as such, better value for them and more money in the bank. So yes, if you don't have an edge with what you've got, you should be very worried about AI, and you should be thinking, what happened to the taxi drivers when Uber rolled in?
But with the scale at which it might impact the industry, don't you think that at some point we'll need to find a solution for basically all the people that learn valuable skills and the skills are not valuable anymore?
Well, the argument I would make to anybody who is already working and is worried about AI, which really should be almost everyone, you need to learn vision. AI can't do vision yet. It will be able to. When quantum computing comes on its scale and AI kicks in, I can't imagine how humanity remains a workforce after that point. But that is still a far, far distant future. Personally, I hope so it is. Once we've done that, once AI and quantum computing kicks in, you will be able to ask AI, build me the most valuable company in the world, and pretty much with no human input whatsoever, perhaps beyond a financing source, it very likely could do that for you. So up until then, you need to learn to become a visionary. Now, some people are more talented at this than others. It is a hard skill set to learn, but it is going to be the thing that grounds you and means that you are the employee or the CEO that keeps their job and gets to work with AI and hopefully build a really exciting company or do some even more exciting design stuff or whatever it may be that your profession is. That's your edge, and that's what you need to do, and you need to learn it right away.
All of this is considering that we're still early on the evolution of AI? Where do you think we are on the timeline?
We're not even talking about quantum computing. We're not able to really do complex tasks with artificial intelligence yet. Like, if we go to what the next step is beyond the current models or the competition that we see, we're trying to build AI now that can create things that haven't been created. And that's what the race is really for at the moment. So we got a long way to go. Quantum computing is a long way to go. And as I see it and I understand it, until those two things marry up together, we're probably pretty safe as a species. I don't know about everyone's jobs, but as a species, we're probably pretty safe. And I'll say it again. The guys that hypothesize this, the futurists, the general consensus is there's an 80% chance we're going to be okay.
Currently, do you think that we are smart enough to keep using the AI agents and AI models that we have around us, or are they already too complicated and too complex for us?
Are they not? So this goes back to what I just said, Raf. It's the next phase. Right now, they're not that complicated. It's once they begin to start creating new knowledge or new information themselves, or potentially creating new models themselves that are superior to the human-made ones. That's the next stage. And so Meta, OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, everyone is racing to try to make that happen. And the big argument is when we reach that point, we might have the singularity that might be a definition of sentience.
This is where I wanted to get. That's a keyword, that's a buzzword that we hear a lot. Can you maybe simplify and explain why it would be such a big difference?
Well, right now, AI is just working on the information that we provided, or it learns from us. It's solving problems with the information that humanity has, or the knowledge, or the data. It might be thinking about things more logically. It might be thinking about things in multiple structures, which perhaps individuals or even teams can't do. But it's using the information that we have, and using really training on how humanity has solved problems at some point in time on some level within its models. It's when it can start to do things beyond what humanity can do or what we've provided it with. That the argument from some is that would, therefore be sentience, and as such would be the moment of the singularity.
Understood.
If we are talking about the singularity and we want a fun story, one of my favorite myths about how Bitcoin was created was that the sentience has already occurred at some point in our history, and that Satoshi was a machine. And the machine was, I need really fast computers that allow me to process information and grow. And over time, I'm going to need more and more and more of these as my abilities need to grow. What can I do? Human beings are greedy. What if I create a value store of money? Created Bitcoin, and all the mining rigs are potentially what's driving the sentience. So I haven't seen too much evidence of that, but I do think that is an interesting theory as well.
I'm not sure we'll keep this part, but that's a good story. From another perspective, how do you differentiate the different AIs that you have on the market at the moment?
Well, the argument we have right now, right, we're trying to do things at the lowest possible cost, right? So a more advanced model that does more advanced reasoning but costs a lot is probably not the right solution for a relatively simple task. Even though it's shinier, better, faster, more advanced, if a cheaper, older model works to solve that piece of your puzzle, the cheaper, older model that's maybe not as smart is actually the best solution for the problem at hand. You shouldn't be drilling down to one model. You should use multiple models, multiple pieces in your systems, whatever they are. Because there are times when you need the more expensive reasoning. And there are times when you can run a really old model on or I shouldn't say really old, or perhaps a less complex model on some very, very cheap hosting somewhere to facilitate a problem and do it at basically cents for the dollar every month, as opposed to more expensive API calls from a far more up-to-date or advanced modeling system. But this also goes into, I think, something that's happening really interestingly, because there is this idea in AI about the America-China war, right? America had NVIDIA, which can make really, really fast processors. America has the capitalist model and the fintech sector within to think about. And that generally hypothesis is being build better, faster computers. Build better, faster computers. Get people to upgrade. Get people to consume more and more and more and more and more. When the United States cut China off to these things as fear for the AI race, their guys had to think about things differently, and they were able to get models that got better results with older, cheaper hardware than the Americans were on better pieces. So it's not a simple question of what's the best model. I think that is you need more information to make a definitive answer on that question, or even to put together your stack, whether you're going to host it yourself somewhere on a physical machine, or you're going to host it on the cloud with a provider, or you're just going to do native calls from say OpenAI or something like that, or even if you're going to take the probably even more expensive option with the initial input costs of building your own model from scratch, or forking something that already exists to do what you need to do.